hard to eat, I guess. So we have Jason, myself, Callie, and Ray. I think John will be here momentarily or around 7 o'clock, so we'll move on without him. And so we'll start with public comment, and we have at least one person to speak to. So if you want to come on up to the table and bring a chair and roll a chair. Yeah.
Okay, so my name is Kristen Rogers. I live over on Conti Court, so Waterbury side. I submitted my letter of interest for the open school board seat to represent Moretown. I trust that you guys had gotten the letter of interest. If not, I do have copies of it, just to cover the bases. So I wanted to come tonight just so you could kind of have a face to a name of who I was. As you read in my letter, I've been here for 15 years. My son is currently a student over at Moretown. I submitted my letter of interest because I really felt that somebody who's been in the community for a significant amount of time, who has a child in the school system, I thought that was really important to potentially, hopefully, fill that empty seat. And I've been attending all of the school board meetings pretty much since February, as well as community engagement committees, so I feel like I'm kind of up to speed on what's been going on. I just felt like it was really important to have another voice for the town, and all of course, everybody within the school district. And because I do have a child that's in the school system, I felt that that was important because of all kind of coming down having to do with the middle school. We've got meetings tomorrow, and the other issues that could be coming down the pipeline as well. I just felt that it was important to have another voice. That's kind of, I just wanted to, that's kind of all.
Have you run for that position before?
No.
When it's been open? Okay.
No, I did vote for Peter. I thought that he was doing a really good job, so I did vote for him when it was, and then, his letter came out, which we're all surprised about, but having gone to the meetings, you see what goes on there, so that's why I kind of came tonight.
Well, we certainly appreciate you coming so that everyone knows, and I'm sure we do, but just for the public. The select board has an opportunity to comment to the supervisory union as far as the candidates. So we should be receiving all who has submitted a letter of interest, and then we'll be able to make comments back to the supervisory union to those. And then they will certainly make their decisions, but hopefully, they'll take whatever we have to say into consideration. But so I'll, open it up if anyone has any comments or questions for Kristen. Fred?
No, that was, I'm glad to see that you've been going to the meetings. That's always pretty important, that you're not just jumping in there. Should you get the position?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things that's very time consuming, so you're prepared to spend a fair amount of your time on that position.
Yeah, I'm already there. I go pretty much, unless there's some sort of a conflict, I go there pretty much whenever there's a school board meeting. I make sure to attend because I feel like it's, especially with things that have been going on, I felt like that it was really important that if I'm going to have an opinion about things, you have to be willing to go and listen. Even if you don't agree with things or you get upset with things, you have to be willing to listen. I know in my letter of interest in my work as a nurse at the CBH, so I'm used to dealing with sometimes big personalities, especially when you're dealing with doctors. You get pushback from people, trying to juggle everything, especially, as I said earlier, I work as a relief charge nurse, so I'm in charge of both of our units and having to push back sometimes when it's not in the best interest of our nurses, if they're trying to push to get people onto our unit and trying to advocate for people. So I get it, when you come to a school board, there's can be a lot of big personalities, a lot of opinions about what one person might feel is the best thing, but you really have to go with a really open mind and be willing to listen to all sides and really figure out what's best for the community and the town and the kids and the public.
One of the things that I like about Peter was this communication back to the board.
Yeah.
So I would hope, and Gabe as well, and since it's that way, usually they would come in together maybe once a quarter just to kind of update us on what was going on, and if they needed anything, we were trying to support you guys as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would be willing to 100% do that because I feel that it's important that everybody knows what's going on the school board end and here. So yeah, 100%. I mean, that's I think that communication is a big key to making important decisions and making sure that everybody's well informed, because miscommunication can really spread like wildfire, and that's where hard feelings can sometimes, or misinterpretations of what somebody thought they heard, just, you know. So.
So have you had any feedback from the supervisory union yet?
So just Bridget sent me an email last week saying that she received it, that thanked me for stepping up to volunteer, that she thanked me for my volunteer work that I do, and that just from Christine as well, just saying to, you know, are you available to come on September 19th?
Okay, so the schedule, I guess that's where I was going.
Yeah, September 19th is, you know, and then just Maureen that she saw that my letter had come through. Because I sent it to not only the chair and the superintendent, but the entire school board as well, just so that they...
Opportunity to look at, sure.
Yeah.
I think that's probably a good idea. Well, you know, certainly I wish you luck there.
Thanks.
Well, Jason, do you have a comment?
I have a couple of questions, one of which you started to address, but I may as well just ask the question straight out, which is how do you plan on dealing with the issues that led to Peter's resignation?
So I think what I kind of saw over the progress since I've been going to meetings in February is I felt, my personal feeling is that you need to speak your voice, even if it's not a popular, what you want to say isn't popular and what goes against maybe the majority of what is said. So I do feel like some people aren't willing to be honest and kind of sometimes go along with the status quo of the school board. I mean, your job on the school board is to make the best decisions for your town or the kids or the whole district of every town, and you need to say what you want to say. You might not be the most popular person, but you have to be honest with how you feel, and try not to take it too personal if you butt heads. Does that kind of...
It does.
Okay.
It does. And the second question was, what would your approach be to controlling costs?
That I'm not 100% sure, because I guess I would have to, I don't have a lot of experience in that area. I guess it's just to be really well informed, honestly. It's to be really well informed. I guess that's, I'm not sure. Like I said, I don't have experience with things like that. That's where I do lack in experience. But I would try to ask the questions that need to be asked. Like I'll just give you an example of this whole solar deal thing that the school board voted on. I really felt like we kind of, as not we personally, but as a school board, you kind of held all the cards in a way and felt like maybe, I know that they didn't vote on it till they came back in August, but maybe could have worked potentially a better deal by asking better questions or, so I don't know, things like, just trying to get more information, be better informed, and really not make the split-second decisions that I sometimes feel that the board needs to take more time on. That's the other issue that I feel the board has. I feel like they're not taking enough time on important subjects to vote on, and I feel like they vote on them when they need a little bit more time to really think about it, investigate, do research.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Is that...
Yes. Good answer. Anything else, Jason? Kelly, how about you down No? Great. Well, again, well, thank you.
Yeah.
And we will certainly, we appreciate you taking the time to come in.
Oh, thanks for listening to me. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Have a good evening.
You don't have to run. You can stay for the whole meeting as well.
husband's out of town, so I'll go see them and all that stuff. But thank you.
It's just that.
Have a great evening.
All right, seeing no other public comments, unless anyone around the table has any public comments, no? We'll move ahead. Katrina? Would you like to do reports and communications?
I have one thing, you'll see it in your signature sheets. I just printed it so it doesn't have a little tab on it to sign, but we got another $5,000 towards Lynch Hill from CDRCP today.
Okay, I did see that where we had, it was a addendum to the contract. that we had to do.
Yep, so it was, Cheryl turned in all the paperwork because it's done, and he said, I see you did another section above what I pointed out, well, I can add it on. And
And that was Lynch Hill again?
Yep.
Nice. And we also were able to get more money for Lover's Lane, is that correct?
Yes, yes, both of them. Oh, and also one other thing was I just turned in another grant for hopefully windows at the town hall, since the new one is beautiful and works. We just did 7, so there's 8 main ones on the front and the sides, the big, big ones. So I just turned that grant in, we should hear back about that by the end, before the end of the year.
Nice.
That's it.
So the windows we're getting, I thought this came up before, something about the historic preservation.
They're historically correct windows.
Okay,
And they rebuild the sills, so it's not like a,
okay.
I mean, yes, they're plastic and energy efficient, but they're correct in every way,
Okay,
look-wise.
okay.
Ray Jim?
I do not have anything.
Kelly?
Yes.
All right.
So I went to the class 4 road presentation last Monday night. So we got to look at some of the work on Lynch Hill, which is awesome. They've done all the way up to the first camp. You can basically drive a car up there now. And they talked about all the different ways that you can, all the different things that you can do to the road to make changes to reduce the phosphorus coming down or slow the water down. Sometimes it may not take as much as you think it does, but
So who put that presentation on? Was there any?
CDRCP.
And they must have had someone technical there giving all this advice, or was there an engineer or something?
It was the guy from, it's DMS, and I can't tell you what that stands for. It was better road, what is it, Ray? Better road practices
Yeah,
is the standard they went by.
yes. Unfortunately, I didn't.
No, not better
Not
practices.
better.
No.
Was it
Municipal
well-
litigation?
Well attended?
No?
and there was, what, 10 people there?
Yeah, he said he expected 10 to 15.
That was
Not bad for an
No.
evening.
A couple people from different towns came that didn't take advantage of the grant money, that wanted to see how we used it, and were pretty impressed. They also said that the hill was like the Cadillac of fixes of anything they've seen.
I've heard that it's really nice.
It's amazing up there.
It's beautiful.
Dan was supposed to send me after picture, or before pictures. I actually have some after pictures, but yeah, it's very nice. Yeah.
So is there like a couple of sentence explanation of what they did there? Or-
To the road,
Yeah.
Went through, they did all, they dug out the ditches, hydro seeded, laid stone in the corner where it loops around right before the hill, the first hill. They laid gravel all the way up through.
some places they had to build the road up because of
Yep.
ledge, so they couldn't dig ditches.
Yep, they had to build it up.
They still have water bars in there.
Not really. They have
There's a couple,
Yeah,
yeah, there's
there's
some
cutouts.
runouts. There's a couple spots where there's like mini water bars. I think they were gonna go back up and put deeper
Yeah,
water bars in.
That would be my biggest concern, because without those water bars, you have to redirect the water, or else everything will wash out and it'll be down the bottom of the hill.
A lot of it was that they did different slopes at different places for the water to run, the way they wanted it
I
to.
meant to, I really didn't mean to take a look at it, but I just,
They have like a handheld level that they can just put down and it gives you all the slopes.
yeah.
So they walked along with that.
So, well, great. Should be a hero up at your camp for a year. it's fixed.
But there is no sign at the bottom of the hill anymore.
Yeah, it was taken.
The sign was there for like 2 days and someone stole the brand new sign.
Really?
Yeah,
The road sign?
the wind chill sign, yeah.
Yep.
Huh.
You unbelievable. Jason, what about yourself?
Yes. I looked into something that was prompted by the draft change to the personnel policy that you did. And I wasn't quite sure what you meant by the change in it, and I wanted to clarify that, but I figured I should look into what other towns do regardless.
Which
So
personnel,
I
which
just-
draft?
This is the part about changing what we do for retirees.
Oh, retirement, okay. Yeah.
So can you explain what that's meant to do before I...
Yep, I have it here, actually. What Cheryl and I proposed was, it was adding in retired employee health insurance benefit to the personnel policy.
Right.
So it was employees 65 years of age and have worked for the town of Moretown for at least 15 years, or reduced hours, or can reduce hours to part-time and still be eligible for the same insurance benefits as active full-time employees.
Okay.
So it's not asking for anything if they're not working.
Does that mean that the town would be paying or that the benefits are available?
The benefits are available. The employee would still pay the same as what they pay when they're full-time.
Now that starts getting tricky because once, as in complicated, because once an employee turns 65, they are Medicare eligible, and it's a different insurance program. So this isn't something that VLCT does, I don't think. They did refer me to some plans that AARP offers. Have you already looked into what the insurance would be? Because it would be different from what our employees have.
We're asking for it to be the same,
Yeah, and it can't be because the employee is Medicare eligible.
but they don't
So
have to
they-
accept Medicare because it costs more than what it would cost them here. It's better coverage here.
I don't think that's true, is it?
No, I don't think so either. I think that they are obligated, if they work full-time,
Yeah,
then they don't have to take Medicare, is my understanding. And afterwards, I don't think, in other situations, I don't think there's a choice. And then the question is, what is there in the way of a Medicare wrap policy, what to handle what Medicare does not, so the coverage ends
Yeah.
up being the same?
yep.
And that's what these AARP plans, for example, do, and there are others. But it's a completely different insurance regime than
Yeah.
what employees have.
Okay.
So,
I think that's good information. I think what we need to do, because that's a lot of it's kind of getting into an area where we need to spend a lot of time on.
yes, I'm just saying, I called VLCT, here's what they told me.
Well, he was looking into it for the cost aspect of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's
Right.
good because we have budgets coming right up.
Yeah.
And this is something that we want to put to bed one way or another
Yeah.
this year.
So 2 more sentences. What they told me is they don't track this, but from their knowledge, small towns in general do not do this, and large towns in general do,
Yeah,
like South Burlington.
I have found that, yeah.
Right. And towns on our scale generally do not. And that's really all I found out so far.
All right.
Maybe with that information, Katrina,
Yeah, I'll go back.
and see what you can come up with.
Okay.
Go with that, of course. Anything else, Jason, for public comment? Or not public,
No,
but just
that's it for reports.
communications and reports. All right, I have a few different things. First, start with something Cheryl left this, actually came to Cheryl Lynn, but from Michelle Saffron. They're having their open mic and they want to know if they can run a banner that says Open Mic Friday 7 to 9. It's about 2 feet high. It's going to stretch between the 2 columns. It's a waterproof type with grommets. I don't mind if it's hung, but we need to make sure it's not damaging any So I don't know if you can pass that on.
So I talked to Corey this afternoon after that, and it would start, I think it's next weekend, so they'd like to hang it up for the week before each month. And I told her that you guys may want to look at it after the first time it's hung, and she said that was no problem.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. So
Did she describe how it would be hung from the
It's
column?
just tires. It's ropes around the top of the column, and the column is square, so it would hang on that lip right there. So it wouldn't be attached to it at all. I don't know where tires came from.
you're tired of it.
I know.
So one of the other things, again, Katrina worked on this for us. It was the nominations for the Municipal Service Awards for both Cheryl and Sasha.
It was actually only Sherilyn to be nominated. You had to be an elected official.
Okay. All right. And so other things that I had, I got a call from Ray Munn, and he wants to cut some trees. So we'd like to have, I said that either you and John, but I should go up and with Martin as well. And he thinks it might be in the town right away, but he just wants to make sure that he can do it, his trees. But,
Yeah, okay.
He spoke to me also about it for a couple of minutes, and you might want to talk to him because he was, if I understood him correctly, he wanted to take down some trees and restore a stone wall. So
Okay.
you might want to discuss
Yeah, he
was,
did say, he said the trees were on top of the stone walls. He was just wanting to cut the trees, but I don't know what he's gonna resurrect the stone wall.
So he's not expecting the town to cut the trees, but he's just...
No, he wants the people to come up there and just check in with him and
Yeah.
making sure everyone's happy with what he would like to do.
His wife just passed away, didn't she?
yeah.
She did.
Yeah. In addition, I also have heard from people on Old Route 100 with the construction that's going on, Mary Lou Duke. We were doing ditches, and it's on 100, you know where I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And also the other people at the end, what the heck are their names? But anyways, I've had Martin go back just to kind of talk with them, to make sure they understand why we're doing it, and he had reached out to them prior, so it wasn't a huge surprise, so he communicated, I think, early with them to let them know, but I think anyone that sees all the ditching that's being done, it's such a difference than what they had.
Was it Henderson over there?
Yes. Yep. Linda. Yeah, and they were all very nice, but they were all, they just wanted to vent a little bit. So.
Yep, the ditches sometimes will cause that in people.
Yeah.
What's the requirement for ditching now?
As far as depth-wise,
Or why is it needed?
basically it's so the water gets out of your road somewhere, you want water in the road, if you can help it.
Yeah, and it's been, I think Martin said around 10 to 12 years since any work had been done there. And so there was a lot of, junk trees and alder that grows in the
Right.
ditch that people like, and they kind of use those as their guardrails. That makes them feel safe. But when you take that out, it exposes things, and they can see the ditches now. So it really actually, one, it will slow them down, but it quite frankly, as they say, it frightens them because now they can see how big they are. But in a lot of it, people need to understand too, it's the new state standards that we're using. And to your point is to get the water off the road, out of the ditches. So I think it's ending well there, but there was a little bit of unrest for a little while just because of the scope of the work. But I think the guys were doing a good job, and I think they had to slow down a little bit. We addressed that as well. That is that. and we are at 6:30, so we're right about, we'll come back and we'll do the meeting minutes when John gets here, but we've got Eric here.
Hi.
How you doing, Eric?
Eric. Okay. How you doing? See ya.
Hey, Eric.
Callie, I'm sorry, Callie. And Jason, Eric Tittery. Hi.
I'm Katrina.
Katrina, you
Yes.
got an email from me.
Yes, you did.
So Eric's here for our annual report for the Mad River Recreation District.
The Mad River Valley Recreation District is, as you all know, a municipal organization chartered in 1994 by the three towns, Waitsfield, Facein, Warren. And I guess going past a year ago, there was interest in purchasing Mad River Park, issue regarding funding, where the soccer fields and lacrosse fields are, purchased from Kingsbury. There's a huge effort to raise the funds necessary and obtain a grant from the National Park Service, Water Soil Conservation Grant, I forget the name of it. But about a year ago, the park was purchased and is owned by the Mad River Valley Recreation District. Moretown participates financially and as a voting member on issues related to the Mad River Park, though more general issues not relating to the Mad River Park, Moretown is not a voting member, so to speak. With respect to the park, I think it is the only, I'm quite sure that it is the only property, real piece of real property that is owned by the Recreation District. You guys know that they have a lot of involvement in, maybe issuing grants to smaller organizations, the Path Association, the Mad River Valley Riders, Bike Club, and, one outfit or another for different purposes. But I'm the representative, have been for the last close to a year. And a few issues have arisen. With respect to the park, they're sports fields. And all the concerns that you'd expect to arise with respect to maintaining and owning open land for the purpose of recreation fields have arisen. Obviously, they want to maintain the quality of the turf. There's been purchased many pounds of grass seed and mulch or compost, which has been applied. They've aerated. They arranged for the mowing. I think one of the Kingsburys may contract to do the mowing. So there's a lot of effort taking place to improve and maintain the quality of the recreation fields. Obviously, water is a big issue, and this summer it was a huge issue. The lack of for quite a while with the heat. It's very, very well drained, and so the grass nearly burnt. But as in the past couple of weeks with the rains, we've rebounded, and I think things are going okay. A big issue arose last autumn when the Waitsfield representative, a gentleman by the name of Michael Nucci, is a Waitsfield representative to the district, and he's also the head of the committee regarding the Mad River Park. He's done a huge amount of work on a volunteer basis to get permits for different things and take care of the fields. He also coaches. He lives right there. Huge effort. But he took it upon himself. I think the listers in Waitsfield wanted, summoned him to a meeting at which they explained that they questioned the basis for the tax exempt status of the park. And they felt that, like the Couples Club property in Waitsfield, there would need to be a townwide vote. And I won't go into the details. You may well be familiar with it, but for certain charitable organizations that own property for public purposes, there needs to be a town-wide vote on their tax exemption. We took a close look at it, and with huge effort, and me included, persuaded the state property valuation and review and the Waitsfield listers that the Mad River Valley Recreation District is a municipal organization that owns a piece of property for public purposes. Its property is exempt from taxation. There is no townwide vote needed, and there's a real concern on the part of the board, and in any event, we succeeded in establishing, with the affirmation of the property valuation review, as I mentioned, the statutory basis for the exemption, and so that's a relief. Unfortunately,
Thank you on that. That sounds like it was a huge undertaking.
well,
It cost a lot of money.
it's a worry, and I was retained to help the district at not on a pro bono basis, to articulate the statutory basis for the creation of the Mad River Valley District, what the statutes have to say about intermunicipal union districts. Obviously, well, you may know about the Winooski Valley Recreation District, which owns many properties throughout the Chittenden County area, which are exempt. And so why this would be treated differently, there's no reason. It's just, who knows why. But, the town of Waitsfield listers were looking at the prospect of imposing a property tax on
$500,000 or whatever.
well, anyway, so and then when the grant list was actually available for review, the abstract, they did not list all of the exempt properties, and so there was still some concern. We had a grievance hearing just out of an abundance of caution, and to be sure that that they were on the grant list going to be confirming the exempt status. So, I mean, it's kind of unfortunate and arduous process that should not have been necessary to begin with, but in any event. And then, issues have arisen with respect to the use of the parking area. As you may know, they created a large parking area to try to divert the parking from the Mad River Park commercial zone over to this new parking area, and people have parked there and left their things in the, some of the neighbors are concerned about that. An issue has arisen recently about soccer and lacrosse families driving on the Mad River Park driveway. We are not a member of the Mad River Association that serves that common driveway, serving the, where Clearwater Filtration is in there, was Cabot.
They used to be right on
Yeah, and
Kingsbury and
a bunch of others, the Natural Light Company, Verilux, or whatever it is. So anyway, so we're working through some issues with respect to the use of that common driveway, which, not being part of the association, we're trying to get soccer players and their families not to use that driveway. They want, the association has asked to be listed as a named insured on the district's insurance policy. Fear being that, somehow they're going to be liable for an accident if a kid runs after a soccer ball or something and we're working through that issue. We're working through an issue of there's a private company recording studio right adjacent to the fields, and he wants to negotiate a license to host a music event. So we're working through that and trying to, reach an agreement. That would be a year from now. I'm not sure. Let's see. We've improved the fields, mulch, seed, aerated. We're working on trying to cite a source for water and maybe pricing out or getting bids for a well. We anticipate every year we're going to run into this problem where if it's hot and dry for a while, we're going to.
Have they had that problem prior to this?
They've had that problem, and it is exceedingly well drained. And so it just doesn't hold moisture, and then the grass dies and weeds crop up. Which has been the way it's been, right? But we like to have good quality fields to at least be on par with the kind of standards maintained by other, we have hosting soccer tournaments, lacrosse tournaments, things like that. Safer, not be hard tan. So
My son plays there all year round, and it's one of the better fields he does play on. Yeah. The grass did die, but everywhere it died for a while.
How, anticipation, I know they were anticipating more activity there. Has that continued to grow?
Well, there's lacrosse leases fields in the spring. The soccer leases the fields for fall soccer. I think otherwise people may sort of on an ad hoc basis. I think there might be a crew of people at one of the businesses in the association who play ultimate there.
I was going to say
Midday. So, there has now been constructed and soon to be sort of commemorated pavilion. The permits were obtained and issued for a storage shed, a pavilion, a kiosk that's sort of coincident with the Mad River path being extended to the recreation fields. And so there's a kiosk, obviously the parking lot, stormwater issues. So, as far as more people using it for field sports, I don't think it's necessarily any more active than it has been. My daughters grew up there playing soccer.
My guess, yeah. They were talking about doing more tournaments and activities like that to bring more people into town. I just didn't know if that had started yet.
There's a lot of, there are different things going on with different groups trying to, of course, generate more traffic in the valley. The Mad River Bikers, I don't know, the Path Association, they've constructed and installed trailhead markers at different paths around the valley, and this is done by the Recreation District, including at the Mad River Park. These kiosks, which are attractive, people come and they want to hike and walk and whatever. There is some hope that Sugar Works, is that what it's called? Sugar House Soundworks. The guy who owns the recording studio, it's unbelievable. It's state-of-the-art recording studio. It just happens to be right there in the valley. This guy came from Austin, Texas. Eric, what's his last name? Escapes me. But he wants to host this annual event modestly, in part as a fundraiser for the Mad River Park. And in part as a, just a community event. But he knows what he's doing as far as promoting, producing an event like this. And, it was hoped that we'd have things in place for him to host this autumn. Didn't work out, so we're looking to next year. But if it, there's a concern, obviously the park or the district is concerned about liability, wanting to protect itself in all ways from any kinds of liability. And so that's an issue in indemnification. And, it may be that others, I think there was a feeler put out by some other group approaching the district. I think the group that may ultimately have ended up in Sugarbush North's parking lot or wherever it was.
Friendly gathering.
Friendly gathering. So I'm not sure it's suitable for that.
Right, yeah, that might be a little rough.
Mainly we want it. And then we have restrictions under the grant. As far this is, this is a municipal organization with all the rights and responsibilities of other municipal corporations, the Mad River Valley Recreation District. And, it's a public use recreation owned by a municipal corporation, unlike the Waterbury Ice Center, which is a separate entity, and for which they had to have a vote. So anyway, if our pitch to maintain our exemption is fully public use, we've got to be careful about for what, the purposes for which we might license or lease the park. Now, $1,500 from the town of Moretown. For the very same reason, I don't think you should need a W-9.
We don't pay anybody without a W-9.
This is like,
Even like people like the appropriations
how
that we
about the
approve.
town of Duxbury, if Duxbury does something
Mhm. We have one for the town of Montpelier in there.
for shared services? Okay. Because it's obviously, it's the tax ID number for the payee,
Yeah.
but it's also, primary purpose is for tax withholding. And there should be no withholding because we're a municipality. So,
Don't need one.
you still need one. Have you tried to?
That comes from Cheryl Lynn, so she's just
I'm just relaying
like,
it.
so the treasurers and that, those are, okay.
Yeah, but what I was saying is even the people that we give donations to, that we vote on every year at town meeting, we still get a W-9 from them
If
too.
I give you a W-9, will I get a W-9? No,
Give us money, give us a W.
okay, I've used up my time, yours. And is there anything you want to know about the district or the park?
No, that was a good presentation.
No, that was good.
It gets me up to date.
Do you guys get minutes from the Valley District? I thought I saw that the last email sending out the minutes from our July meeting may have included Moretown officials.
No,
I don't think we do, no.
I didn't see it.
Do
certainly
you
not.
want?
That would be great if it could.
I mean, the Mad River Valley Recreation District has had its own website, whatever.org, but I think they are in the process of taking that down and just using a Facebook site as their official site. But we have the same obligations to post minutes,
Yeah.
agenda, etc. And so there has been, it's in transition, but there has been, you go on their site and you can read all about what they do and what the business they've attended to.
Yeah, if, Katrina, if you could give Eric our email just so we on that service list.
Yeah.
So that would be good to get.
Or every time I get them, I'll just forward to you.
Yeah, you have my email, yeah. So.
Yeah, do that, that's great, and she can send them to us.
Yeah, that would be better. And so.
As soon as you walk out the door, you remember.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I can say, we meet monthly, except we didn't meet in June or something. I don't know, 11 months out of the year.
Nice.
I'll forward those minutes. If you'd like me to appear here to report more than once a year, let me know.
We'll do that.
If you'd like me to summarize something for the town report, I shouldn't have mentioned that.
Because I'm the one that does it. See, you
But that's-
mentioned it right in front of me.
But that would be excellent, that would be just to have the town report.
Yeah.
Just a
Sure.
We spent
paragraph.
$1,500.
Show people.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know what I wanted to mention. The Mad Valley Planning District is also an intermunicipal district created by the three based in Waitsfield. And you may have read in the Valley News, or the Valley Report, the idea that the planning district is with some involvement by the Central Vermont Regional Planning Committee, thinking about a local option tax, 1% tax on sales. And so, in part to raise money to be permanent financing for the Manhattan Park. But I would hope people, obviously Montpelier, Burlington, other towns have a local option tax. And so we in the district are wondering why we couldn't just do that.
Because people don't want to pay the extra 1%.
Think of the run on at the Moretown General Store. So anyway, I mean, that's something that, and I think, the Valley Towns, they have a tri-town meeting, which is coming up. I don't know to what extent or whether the select board, as a participant with respect to the park at least, has direct kind of communication with the other three Valley towns with,
Right, yeah.
but I don't rely on this conduit of information. I'll report on the doings of the district, but, obviously you guys were solicited to participate.
And thank you for your participation there.
Yeah.
I have one quick question. Part of the pitch was that additional revenues were anticipated to help bring down the maintenance costs. And it sounds like this tax issue may be affecting that.
Well, I don't think, that is just in its infant stages. Actually, what's his name? A select board member from Warren, maybe the chair of the Warren Select Board, whose name?
Amy Cunningham, maybe?
No.
Or is she still on there?
No. Oh, what's his name? Anyway, he attended the district's most recent monthly meeting on the 21st of August. And it was maybe a day or two after an article had been, or the week following this article in the Valley Reporter about, local option tax idea. And so he made a pitch, I think, in the hope that the district, for its part, would be, lend its voice to that. And, it's just something to observe and follow. But I don't think that, I think that's a very kind of recent idea. And I would bet that
That's not what
yeah.
we were told during the pitching part of this. It was more additional usage by outside parties.
And so, I think there's a hope that we will be able to do that. I guess I wasn't fully aware of that when I was.
Yeah, you're going to a little bit later than
Yeah. And graduate.
But,
But, you know, we're going to hope to see if we can have this music festival, you know, with the proviso that we are, this is, not only are we bound under the terms of our grant to use this for recreation field purposes. So renting it out to, you know, soccer tourneys or lacrosse tourneys or ultimate or whatever, that would to cover our costs, yes. But, you know, it's got to be done in a way that we're not putting at risk our status as a public entity, and that we're not exposing ourselves to undue liability for, like, people drinking beer at a music concert or whatever. And then also the issue of parking and driving and circulation, working with the park association, or the Business Owners Association. So, but, you know, I don't know, you know, other than renting it out for sports events, or, I don't know, you know, I mean, I suppose it's craft. They have Kingsbury's Field, or Canyon's Field.
and that probably wouldn't be good for the rest.
So, stay tuned on that.
One other thing before you leave, Eric, are you going to be able to make next week's meeting? We had invited
Planning Commission, subdivision regulations.
right, DRB and us, so we, instead of just like handing things out, you know, here are the rules and regulations, get everyone's input. So I hope you can make it.
Hope so. It's in my calendar.
All right.
I thought it was this Thursday, and then I had to check. Next Monday,
It's a Monday, yes.
Yeah.
6 o'clock. Yeah, good.
We get to get your input.
Thanks.
Have a nice
Yeah, that sign on the Moretown Town Hall for the,
Yeah.
we want to check the sign ordinance.
We did already.
So we'll be expecting an application.
JD said it was fine.
Okay, no doubt.
You definitely be here next Monday to talk to JD about that. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you, Rick.
Yeah, thank you. Nice to see you all. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
All right, so why don't we get moving ahead if everyone's all set? You know, I would like to wait for John for the quotes for the Lister business. And so maybe, why don't we do the town hall chair and table rental? Let's
Sure. So, I think since our last meeting, I've had like 5 people call me and ask if they could borrow tables and chairs, because there's nowhere in the valley to rent them anymore. Because Wedding Sense and Events is closed. So, my personal feeling is I don't think we should just give them out. If they get ruined, we don't have any money to recoup them. So I made an agreement, if you guys want to do it, there's one here for each of you. That I went and looked at all the different places that do rent them and got like the average prices of what they rent them for. So most places rent 8-foot tables for $10 each, and chairs are based on, they don't have obviously the same chairs, but about $3 a piece. And there would be a $150 deposit, which is the same deposit you have to put down when you rent the town hall itself. It's almost the same contract, just a little shorter than the town hall rental. So we have lent them out to 2 people, Sherilyn and Cheryl O'Cade, that said that they would make a donation, and we didn't really get anything. So it was 2 hours of my time on the weekend being there to unload it, or, you know, to be there for them, so.
Yeah, that's unacceptable.
Exactly.
Spending your weekend time
Yeah.
on tables and chairs. I'm fine with the renting them out. It's, like you said, I think if we, just because there's no rent, I mean, we can start letting them out and everyone will use them, and the wear and tear on them could be
So the replacement, just so you know, too, the replacement cost for a table is $100, for a chair it's $120.
Okay, so then why is the charge for a chair so much less than the charge for a table?
Because because the chairs are a lot sturdier than the tables, for one. They can go through a lot more. And like I said, I went through all the other rental places throughout Vermont, and that's, if we charge an obscene amount, they're not gonna rent it anyway. And what's the chances that they're gonna ruin a chair and a table? It's mostly Moretown, I mean, it's been Moretown residents, they haven't gone far.
Hopefully for a table less than 1 in 10 and for a chair less than 1 in 30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ray, any comments on this?
So who will it be you that will be handling?
Sherilyn and I both, like we do the town hall now, the one.
Yeah, any kind of revenue helps, huh?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And there are, I'm sure there's always cases where, you know, we can let this waive the fee, but let's wait till those come up.
Yeah.
You know, but
Yeah.
like anything, let's try to do it.
We had one rental last week that you guys had said that we were waiving the fee for Moretown residents, so Cheryl signed off on it because it was in between. It was a funeral, not a funeral, you know what I mean?
Wait.
Something. But they did great. I mean, they signed the contract, they gave the deposit. It was all clean after.
Place up.
Yeah.
Yep.
How are you dealing with scheduling, say, the possible need of tables and chairs in the town hall? I'm sure you.
Well, I mean, so yeah, we have to, obviously, it all bears mind if they're available, then they're not, you know? But we have, there's not any event that uses every chair and table. There's a lot of chairs and tables in there.
I move to accept this table and chair rental agreement.
Second.
Seconds. Any further discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Right?
Aye. Thank you. Well done. Picture putting that together and doing that work. Do you know if Martin's going to be coming on
He
this?
said he was, last I talked to him.
All right. You know, well, why don't we just go ahead and start to look at the list of work. We can't wait for John. All right, so great, John's not here because he had it while put his dog down, I guess.
Oh,
So.
He will be in. It was, I don't know if it was today they had to, but I think his kids were down, maybe. Yeah.
That's why.
So you have copies of somewhere there,
Yeah.
of all the member stuff. I'll give you numbers to go with what you're looking at too. Because we obviously already have a current contract with them for other stuff. So when you're looking at that, our current contract price is $8,190.
Here's. Say again.
$8,190 is our current contract with member. So the difference is $2,625 and change.
26, 25 or something.
Yeah.
So just to be clear, this includes the work that they do now for the 8,190. This is not an additional one?
No, that's already the contract we have. And to be clear too, this does not include redoing tax maps. That's a separate contract in itself. But this is every reappraisals, all of that stuff.
So Katrina, on the front page, can you point out?
So it added more time in office administration. That line, it added just more hours there.
How many?
No, Cheryl didn't break it down for me line by line.
Okay.
And it added more on, the cloud service is new. That part is new.
No change to remote work?
I don't believe so, because I think it's in the cloud. Something to do with that.
And of course, the setup, that last new, but that's.
Yeah.
So did you go over this, the new agreement, or what it is, Katrina, or?
I got the lowdown from Sherilyn, because she knows way more about this than I do. And this is everything that the listers are required to do is on this agreement, which is what she asked the quote to be. And then I also have the numbers for you of what the listers, we've paid the listers for the last 8 years.
You anticipated?
I did.
Did you, yeah, is that a sheet you could just copy and give to everyone,
Oh, sure.
please?
So the 8,190 that we're currently paying now, what do you said we were currently paying 8,190?
That's all the work that they do
Do we,
that I'm not involved
you know what would be helpful if we had a copy of that contract as well?
of the contract that includes that
original one.
8,000? Okay. I can't get you that tonight.
Right, I understand that, but that way we can kind of pick the difference.
Yeah.
Because the hours to us, this really mean a lot, but
Right, you need to know what they're already.
what they're actually doing.
Yeah.
And then we need to sit down with, I think, the lister. This is another decision where we need to, we'll do that quickly, I think, but kind of marry the two together and figure out what is best.
And just to be clear, they were estimating the number of hours that they would need to spend in part what the listers currently do. And it could be anything.
So just so you see, I did an average including this year, but then I took this year out and did a second average. That's what all those numbers are.
Very helpful, thank you.
This year,
It was an anomaly,
Yeah.
so I took it out and did it again.
Okay. Good, I was thinking 3,500.
Yeah. Pretty close.
It probably went up since I last looked, so.
Yes, yes.
okay, so the average was 44.77
That was including this year.
this year, okay.
Yeah, so without tax maps, 30.84.
So the tricky part is being able to tell if this amount of money would cover the same amount of work that the listers do for 3,900.
According to Sherilyn, yes, but I can get, like I said, the other contracts so you can look at it for yourself.
Well,
Because we're not the only
Right.
town that never does this for.
right. If the workload requires more work, then the additional work would be at $75 an hour.
I would assume so.
So,
Yeah, I think
we're
definitely
depending on the accuracy of the estimates.
which I'm sure they're doing to the best of their abilities, but sometimes they don't rise, who know. And then we also need to make, do some soul searching and thinking about, what level of, I guess, do we want from our listers? Do we really, is it, as Mike said, and they were talking about kind of quasi what we got going on now, and maybe even more of that, or totally no listers. So I think there's a lot to think about with this decision.
My first thought, and it's by no means a considered look at it yet, but my first thought is we would still want listers to review the work and sign off.
Yeah, I agree there. You certainly, I think in statutes, you need to sign off on
Yeah,
the
right.
list regardless.
And to me, that makes more sense than simply just continue with listers and say, okay, they'll just go do their thing.
Right, because we need that, I mean, there needs to be the face of the town and the communication there. So I think that's why, and Jason, you're good with the analytics, is kind of taking that $3,800 and that 26, one look and trying to figure out what, you know, where that work is coming from and what we can save with the listers, but also what we can have these guys do, because you know, maybe more efficient and might save us money in the long run because of that.
One thought I have too, like they was going forward, if those two stop being listers, are you gonna get anyone as qualified as the people you already have? I mean, the one auditor we got, it's in there, he's already resigned. I'm alone again, you know? And that's another thing, is you might not have people that are willing to do it anymore.
That's a valid concern.
Yeah.
Another is, since the board discussed adding dimensions to the tax maps, be very aware that that's something that has to be maintained, and it's something that will make errors more apparent, which is good for them. But the outcome of that will be more lister time to maintain and amend those numbers.
I mean, they're always should be maintaining all things with those tax maps, but you think that those dimensions would be more so?
Yes. Yes. Sean thinks so also. One of the reasons for that is simply that it's more in your face. People will see all the numbers.
Yep.
Now, that's a good thing. It will lead to more accurate tax maps. The consequence, though, is yes.
More, yeah, more confrontation, I guess you could say. But that's almost one of the reasons why we do want it there. You know, it's it will create it, but it's for that transparency for people to understand their boundaries.
My only objection to that was only the price, because to me it's something that they can do by flipping a switch. And I think we could do better.
Well, I haven't heard back, but if you, I'm sure you have minutes, or maybe it was your comments or something, but it was actually
4,000, not
4,000, and we've allocated 3,000, so we may get
And better.
a better deal regardless if they want to do it just that way.
Which I don't even know how that happened. It was even in my written notes, 4,000.
So is there any other comments or questions on this? Obviously, we can, you know, we have some work to do to look at this, but this is something that we need to do behind, or maybe a decision at by budget time, where we want to go. But certainly because we, you know, I don't want to get into eliminating elected officials, listers, so thinking about that with
Actually, I don't see an effect on the budget. If we kept listers to do review and sign off, we're probably talking about the same total number.
yeah, it could probably, you know, possibly could be, but again, I'm more wary of this word right here, estimate.
Yep.
So, and at the second, as you pointed out, it's $75 an hour or something. But just, I would like that as a timeline to get it done by that, whether we use that for excuse or not, because we have to.
That makes
But
sense.
just so we can get it done, and everyone knows what they're doing or not. All right, why don't we go ahead and our approval of the 8/20/2018 meeting minutes?
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes of 8:20.
Any second on that?
Again.
Callan? Any further discussion? All in favor of aye?
Aye.
Aye. All right. So we are waiting on the farm, Pony Farm retaining wall. Why don't we, again, because I would like to wait for John, let's look and see what else we have here to go through.
I'm just gonna take one more.
Okay, there's a couple more things. On communications, Moretown Select Board from Isaac Graham. He has a parcel of property on Stevensbrook Road, 1410 Stevensbrook Road. He's looking to donate the property to us. That's what we want, the land. He'd give it to us for free. Looking forward to our reply.
Do we know how much the taxes are on that?
I can tell you right now. $606.72 were the taxes.
How big a parcel is it?
1.9 acres.
Which was adjusted from 0.45 when the new tax maps came out.
And
What's the address again? Sorry.
yeah, it's 1410 Stevensbrook Road. Hey, Martin.
Martin?
Martin, do you know where 1410 Stevensbrook Road is? I think it's just a piece of land, but I don't think I know what area it's at.
I don't know for sure.
Isaac Graham. You have a possible place to park your vehicles, so.
That was the only thing I read was the map.
Someone offered to move the town a piece of property that he
Google Maps?
a couple acres, so I didn't know.
I wonder if it's right at the town line. How long that road is.
Yeah, so if,
I'll look at Google Maps.
yeah, why don't we find out what it is and
If it has gravel in it, they take it.
Right?
I guess on a situation like that, have we, John would be a good person to ask this, but was the town in the past, if we take a piece of property, wouldn't we?
Oh, they have. I'm trying to think where that was,
I guess it's right at the town line, because it's actually listed in Duxbury.
but I think it came up, I know it came up
It's
with
Welsh
Welsh
Road.
Road.
That's where it hits 100 on the top.
If it was worth anything.
This is
to-
not-
I don't know what the square is. Do you know?
No.
No.
We can look at a picture of it though. It's 1786. How did they do that?
I'm trying to think what would be a good reason to have it, you know. I don't know the location, but
Well, I don't know if it would be saleable property, would be the only, but if it was, I would think this guy would
it'd
probably
be,
sell it.
yeah. But, you know, that makes me wonder, why would he just sell it?
Well,
Why don't we look, sure, if you could find out exactly what we looked at. 1410.
it's right on the Duxbury line. It's closer to Route 100 on Duxbury than it is down to 100B. I'm trying to see how far it is from Route 100.
Yeah, when I have more time, I could take a look and see if I can tell if it's in a wetland or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 0.7 miles off of Route 100 down Stevensbrook.
What's the
It'd be basically Duxbury or
His address is Duxbury. Yeah.
mailing address.
Yeah.
Yeah. 14, like almost 1.5 miles out. This way, if that's the way I can. So that's pretty close to the town line.
Maybe a turnaround or something like that.
Yeah, we have a pretty good one there right now, but
Yeah.
so,
Well, let's just try to figure out where it is and
yeah, go.
Martin, do you know if anyone else was coming on that retaining wall?
I don't know. I took a look at the agenda, that's why I just.
Well, we can get into that. I don't, and if we have questions for them. Are you guys familiar? Did you see the emails through?
Right. That did bring
It was there, the retaining wall. It's over here on Pony Farm Road. Martin, will you pull up a chair? Slide in. So originally here, there's a proposal for a retaining wall, but I've also was talking to Dave Reed, and he said you mentioned, and he had originally mentioned a guardrail.
Right, I mean, I've had talks with Dave as well regarding this, and he had originally approached me as, would we put guardrail up? And I said, I didn't know if we would, and then he was concerned. I guess the big concern is the owner of the building will be living there now, and he's concerned about traffic potentially crashing into the house, and it is very close to the road. So I told him, I said, there's a couple different options there. I really would necessarily like to see guardrail there. Really no need for it other than to protect the house. So he said he would get a hold of his the owner had a friend with engineer. Yeah, so he came back with that fairly elaborate wall structure. So I just kind of in casual meeting with him at the gas station down here one night, just told him, I said, in the end, I said, if it's strictly about safety, then possibly guardrail would be the best bet to go with in the end. And then of course it comes that it's not just safety, it's also, I guess they put new windows in and had to install a new window. They've had a window broken by a rock. He said that's not a common occurrence, but it's happened over the years. They've had stones go through the windows and whatnot. So I've gotten no issues as far as really trying to protect the house. I mean, I can understand where they're coming from a safety standpoint. At this point, the only thing I would be concerned about is meeting the MUTCD codes. Wall, you have to have shearable things to keep from being impaled by projectiles and whatnot. And I'm not sure if that wall would qualify under those guidelines.
Right.
So possibly in the end, guardrail from a safety standpoint would meet the MUTCD, but would not help them out on their protecting the glass on the windows. So possibly he still needs
Right, and that might be he wants to put screens or something over his windows.
right or something. So I'm more than willing to work with them and come up with a solution. I'm just not sure what that solution is going to be.
Cindy, this house is, it's always been there.
Oh yeah.
Has anybody ever ran into the house?
Not to my knowledge.
So
but
why,
honestly, I don't know.
is there some,
I don't know.
put new windows in?
Yeah, I'm not sure if they're doing a rearrangement arrangement, and Dave said something about a possible bedroom there or something, so I think that was a little bit more, but as far as I know, no vehicles have ever gone off the road and struck it, that I'm aware of, but that doesn't mean that it hasn't happened, or that it could happen.
Is that a location where planting something could help?
Possibly. I mean, even some shrubbery might, if it had a chance to get mature enough, it would be some sort of a hedge. It's really close to the road. I mean, I would recommend you can look at it and see it. It's very close to the road, so anything they do for protection is going to be automatically in the right of way, any work that they do, so.
I've been by there enough, but I actually just slowed down and drove by to see.
Right.
And it is in a precarious position,
Yeah.
where they understand that they would want
Something.
right. So,
Would you say it's closer to the road than like Fred Ledoux's house? Because I would think that's very close to the road.
Yeah, probably a little bit closer, not by a lot. The only thing that would make me a little bit nervous is it is in a little bit of a corner, not a sharp corner, but it is a little bit more of a corner. But yeah, I get what you're saying. I mean, it's similar to, I'd say it's a little bit closer than.
I think the thing that makes a difference to me on that one, if you were, because you're coming from this direction, it's not.
No,
It's coming from the other direction. You're coming down that hill and taking it.
Yeah, if it was super slippery and you locked up your brakes, and it would probably carry you right into the.
Do we have any guardrail or any money for guardrail or any?
We don't budget for it. Usually it's part of a project thing. We don't currently have any rail kicking around or anything that we could install, but it's not.
Do you know how much that would
be? Not terribly expensive, I would say. I wouldn't dare guess, but I could certainly get a quote on a 20 to 30 foot, quote and see what they came up with. But
I think I'd initially look into that, and then we should look into this wall. I'm concerned about the what are the acronym?
yeah, the NUTC, the traffic control devices it's a standard thing, and that's the only thing that I'm concerned about is whether the town would be adopting some liability or allowing them putting that up.
And that's why I'm almost thinking if you go with a guardrail,
Right.
Yeah.
You do see all the other stuff I included in that?
Yeah.
You've historically never allowed a wall in the right of way?
that's part of it as well.
Yeah.
Because if you read, because Cheryl brought me up to, and I remember reading a lot in the newspaper about the bad hens.
Yeah, the whole force.
And so I don't want to, that's costly, and sometimes it's more or less expensive to do something like a guardrail or tell them to put in a hedge behind it or something to protect their glass. And that way it also takes us out of that liability that someone came and asked for protection that we didn't give.
Yeah, no, I can certainly get a quote on that and see what it would be. When he first approached me, it was kind of along the same lines. I was just like, well, maybe a wall or, whatever.
Right.
Maybe it goes away.
Yeah.
It didn't go away, so we're following up on it, and now it's.
No, they're putting it at $20,000.
Right, exactly. And so I think in this particular instance, simplifying it would be best. The wall's fine, as far as I can see, at least from a road work standard. It's just like I said, I'd be concerned about allowing it, and then whether we adopt the liability off of that, allowing that structure in the right of way.
Yep. Yes, it's not even them, it's someone else who hits it.
Right, exactly.
Is there anything grant eligible about guardrail in that section?
Nothing that I've seen. I mean, usually if we do guardrail, it's tied to a grant project that we've done, but I've never done just guardrail itself, other than a few, like the backside of the common and stuff.
I mean, any way to write it up as a safety improvement?
Yeah, I don't know.
I was just gonna turn
Maybe.
on training, yeah, maybe.
That new one that she just sent us had a bunch of
Right.
different ones.
Yeah, and that's
I'll look at,
awesome.
yeah.
Thank you.
I would, yeah, I mean, I would say under $1,000 would be my guess for guardrail.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't think it would be. I think the trip charge would be as much as the rail itself.
That's what I was gonna
just to
say.
get 'em- Just to get them here to put up.
No.
Well, anything we've done in the past has been pretty much used rail, which is completely adequate. And,
Yeah,
so.
if you could look into
Yeah.
that,
So,
especially if it's under $1,000, I mean, that's.
right. But we'd want us, definitely wouldn't want to have that as a firm number. I'd want to make some
Of
calls
course.
and find out, but that would be my guess. So.
All right. What else you got going on down there? Did you get everyone on 100, the old 100 stuff now?
Yes, to some extent, I guess. I did have a conversation with Mary Lewis, Leduc there, and I think we're on the same page there at the farm. Art never came to find me. I worked down there 2 days in a row. He saw me and didn't come to make any contact. He talked with Rodney today, sharing some of the same concerns. And Rodney told him that, we weren't done, that, to finish the work, and then, if the complaints or concerns are still there. I think it's just the shock value is
Right.
still there. It's very different, So I've heard from a few different people, the south entrance is a little overwhelming. I mean, it makes it look like we've done major ditching and whatnot, but in actuality so if you turn into the south entrance, the left-hand side of that road, that ravine was always there. It just was covered with grassy debris and stuff, so same thing with on the right, once you get down where it flattens out, there's a fairly steep embankment for 15 feet or so, and Barb and Mary Lou were like, well, did you guys make that? Or, has it always been there? And I'm like, it's always been there, it's just been buried under, cat bush and, brushy debris, so it's there and it will grow back to that. It's just a little overwhelming when you take away the foliage.
Everyone has I understand their concerns, but I would like to have a group for you guys did a nice job, and a lot of it you got to get the culvert to the bottom. I mean,
Correct, yes, like Art's concerns are the culverts are deep, and along the flat at least, we're not setting that depth. The depth is set by the culverts that are there, in place. We've changed a few culverts, but we haven't gone any deeper with them. So obviously we have to ditch to that culvert. And at one time or another, that ditch was that deep at one point. It's filled in, and so when you open it back up, it looks overwhelming, so.
just continue to try to work with them down there.
Yeah, I think we can, keep the open dialogue and, very hopeful to get wrapped up down there and get out of there onto different projects. So,
Heard nice things about the Lynch Hill
yeah.
work you guys did.
Yeah, no, it came out great. Really happy with that. So,
Did you talk to Dan today?
I did via email.
He gave us more money.
He did, yeah, I see that with that, yeah, with that, so. Yeah, no, we'll be doing a culvert install on Bat Hennessy. We're gonna move the excavator out and do that culvert up there. It's at the Y with Flynn Road. There's a beaver pond there, and it's been historically washes out every spring and traps the residents on the other side. So I think the last 3 years we've been up there every spring to
Did they bring the culvert in? Is that the one? They brought the
Yeah,
culvert in?
yes, we brought the culvert up there.
Yeah.
So we're gonna be tackling that tomorrow, so.
Are you guys gonna, this, skipping around, there was that guardrail that was over on,
Yes.
yeah,
Gallery.
Gallery.
Yes, got it on my to-do list. I think it's just something we'll take, remove.
Yeah, it looks like from the picture, it just looks like there's a little berm behind that, so it could.
Yeah, it's, from a safety standpoint, I have no idea why it was really ever installed. I don't know why. It's really not needed. It's been in that condition forever, so it really, I mean, it could just come out and
Yeah, that's what I
it'll be
thought.
perfectly fine. So, and then we'll be jumping around a little bit, but we've got work up on Howes Road, Four Corners with Common, Howes Road, Deb Feldman's ditch there to do, and some work in front of Carl Nobles.
As long as you're talking about deep ditching, I have a question about that area, because that gets really muddy.
By,
That whole Four Corners, Five Corners area there.
yeah,
North end of Hathaway Road, Common Road.
right.
Can anything there be ditched deeper to stop that or to reduce that? Or-
Yes, you're talking more on Hathaway, that,
And also that
Yeah.
little section that gets to the Four Corners from Hathaway.
yeah. Yeah, that's a tough one because of the house, because of Eric's house right there. There'd be, nothing we could do on that side of the road. The other side of the road, the water's pretty much trapped there. There's no culvert or anything. It's basically a retention pond. The water has to evaporate that. You notice in the spring, there's usually a puddle where it has to evaporate.
Because you can't send it over to Carl's property on the other side.
Correct, which I've already reached out to Carl in regards to Deb's issue, because there's really no place to send that water either. So we're kind of working on some sort of a solution to alleviate that without turning it from Deb's problem into Carl's problem.
Yeah.
So,
And the end of Hathaway Road there?
yeah.
Is there anything,
That definitely on the list. I don't want to say that it'll get done this year, because it probably won't. But yeah, that whole flat from down below your place all the way up through the ditches need to be redone, and the road, what's really, I think the biggest issue there is just lack of material. There's really no material. If you notice, the grade we're into,
that would
the
be
bigger nuggets, like the 2.5 inch, that's more of a base material.
That's more expensive than the ditching though. so-
Correct, yes. Yes, so, yeah, it's definitely on the list.
My driveway,
Yeah.
use ditching and gravel. Anything else, Mark? Guys? Kelly, anything,
I should
Mark?
probably let you know, we're already way over budget of the pickup, but it's sitting at McLeod's, brought it for inspection, and it needs all new ball joints in the front, and after they do that, it'll have to be realigned, and...
What year is that pickup?
2011.
It's the 2011.
So that's probably not a really cheap repair. So we'll just continue to back up the dollar amount on that, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those to look at.
It's hard, but
numbers.
I figured it would probably be worth trying to get another year out of it. In hindsight, it definitely cost more than it was worth trying to keep it, but having never had a pickup before, we didn't have much to go on, so.
Yeah, and I think that's good news. I think in the future, when you're looking to replace that, you might want to think about something a little bit
Yeah,
bigger.
different, yeah. Different setup, yeah. So,
Speaking of which, just to think about, at some point we should have a conversation about capital needs. So, just start making your list and what's important, what isn't, when.
Any other questions for Martin or Martin for us, or? Is that it?
We're supposed to look at Raymond, some trees up there with Raymond at some point.
Okay. Unless they're different, I've probably looked at them with them already. But maybe you just
They were on the wall.
Yeah, on that rock wall. He talked to you.
Yeah, I told him to give
Well, I think about a year ago,
Yeah, that's what I meant.
and I told him he could cut the trees he wanted, yeah.
I think maybe he's looking for us to.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's anything that's a danger.
No, I don't think that's on
Hazard road or anything.
No, I think they're just, if we're doing work in that area, maybe we can get them down, but otherwise I'd say they're probably his, but.
Yeah, I think he was gonna do it all himself. He
Yeah.
wanted something to do, he just wanted to talk to a couple of people to make sure we were all set with him. Jason said that he mentioned to him that he was looking to repair the wall or do something.
Yeah, I think he's looking to get it aesthetically more, defined and whatnot there, so.
I think he wanted to talk, I didn't understand this part, but I think he wanted to talk to you about whether the road needed to shift at all to do that.
Okay.
I didn't quite follow that.
It's just going off of past dialogue that I've had with him, he's probably concerned because the road has kind of encroached somewhat towards the wall, so he's probably just looking to get it shaped back up where it needs to be.
That'll kind of move it off this wall.
Yeah, yes, I think so.
That's why I was wondering why he really wanted to
Yeah.
a tree. There's gotta be something else there. Yeah. Which I understand through our roads going into his wall, I guess we don't want that either. But,
Yeah, I think
He didn't
the wall
really
was
say
there
that.
before the road.
I guess we had a tire fiasco this weekend. Somebody dumped a bunch of tires out there in the brook, but I think it's been cleaned up. What I've been told, so.
or did they, someone figure out who did it?
Yeah, the state police were involved, so they've got them. But they're cleaned up now, so I was looking at it saying, oh, Greg, I'll be cleaning up 30 tires on.
30 tires?
It was a good sized pile.
Yeah.
It was probably halfway up.
Up the hill?
Yeah. It was
Up the new hill?
Yeah. Not in the hill, but around, like if you were doing the whole loop,
Oh, okay.
where they have the little circle spot.
Who does something like that? I mean, who are the people that do those type of things? Did they check for the sign that's lost? The little people that put the sign?
They're not that great, especially in the middle of the day when people are going up the road and you get seen doing it.
It's weird. It's like everybody that drives that loop, they all love it because they like to be outdoors, love to, like the nature and everything. And as they're doing it, they're throwing their beer cans out. It's like, oh, yeah, look at that. There goes the beer can. Let's drive around some more. It's crazy. They don't put the two things together.
Yeah, and they just continue to abuse it, and it ended up costing us a lot of money and aggravation.
Yeah.
That's too bad. Well, I'm glad that they figured that out.
Yeah, they did, so we're in good shape on that. But as far as that, I'm pretty set. We'll have to obviously get going on budget season here. A little concerned about my budget. It's a little bit high for this same time, I think, in past years, but that'll be offset by some of the grants and whatnot. So like chloride, things like that are gonna be over the pickup.
It's not your hours. Your hours are under.
Yeah, no, our hours are good. That's been working out really well, actually. I think it's worked out great to have stuff on that. It's kept the overtime down.
Yeah.
So we all had a little bit this last pay period, just with the workload with people on vacation. And whatnot, trying to get stuff finished up for that Lynch Hill meeting and whatnot. But it's been a
I want
productive
to say
summer.
that's the first time you've had overtime this summer, though.
I think so, pretty much.
Okay, we'll keep that up and try not to break any more equipment.
Park it and break.
All right, well, thanks a lot, Mike.
Yeah, have a good night.
You as well too, Mark. Well, John, thank you for taking the time to come down tonight. We sorry to hear about your loss.
Yeah.
Stuff. So what we've done tonight, John, just to give you kind of a recap of some of the obvious stuff. Eric Hitchard came in. There was a nice report on the Niagara Recreation District. I think Katrina took good notes, so I'll go over that stuff for you. The list of work. So one of the things that you will see in the packet over there is the quote. You should see the quote for the list of work. And there's also, did you get a copy?
Yeah, I was right there.
Here's a copy of what the salary, what we've been paying the average in the last 8 years here.
Okay.
This right here, this figure includes this year, which was a little was unusual because of the maps. So this is without all the map work.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And this 2,600, that's the difference of Nemrick's old contract and what their new contract would be. So,
Okay.
so this 10,000, whatever it is here,
Yeah.
their old contract, and Katrina's going to get a copy of it, is around 8,100.
Okay.
So
Got
that's
it.
the difference there. And so they were looking for an additional $2,600 to do, if you will, this amount of work here that's being done. So there's potential savings there.
Yeah.
One of the things that we've talked about is that, really wanting to have those blisters as that face in the town for someone to talk to and to take the calls. So we didn't take any actions at all. We just basically got the information. We'll wait for a little bit more from Katrina, and then we'll get into a little bit more.
Okay. Sounds good.
Pony Farm retaining wall, we just finished up. Martin's looking into guardrail for us on that.
Okay.
Katrina put a nice town hall chair and table rental agreement, which I think is in the pile as well.
Yeah.
We accepted that. And then you heard Martin, so that's been the meeting so far.
Okay.
I think about the only thing that we have to do is we can look at the invoices here, public arena, and then we'll go into executive session to discuss the town administrator replacement business.
Okay.
And of course, unless there's other business.
Yes, John and I have one piece of new business from the Finance Committee.
Mm-hmm.
And the very short version is that we have a lot of money sitting in an extremely low-yield account waiting for select board action. We're getting something like 0.05% or something like that. So we can fix that very easily. Sherilyn was nice enough to look at what's available out there, a reasonable sample of what's available. This would have to be split up because we'd be looking for FDIC insurance. But an example would be Moretown has a 12-month no penalty CD where you can pull the funds out at any time. It pays 1.25%. And also anything that we can identify as a no-brainer as sitting around for 9 months, that's paying 2%. So interest rates are at a point where now there's a significant difference between the plain savings account and taking a better deal. So what John and I wanted to ask is for the select board to give permission to the finance committee to, we're meeting again tomorrow, to do something better than, something with no risk that is appreciably better than the savings account we have now. So
As long as there's no risk, I don't see any.
Yeah.
How much money are we talking about?
that depends on the cash flow, what Charlene says is available. But
Approximately.
I mean, bottom line is that just for regular savings in our general fund, 1.25% is what Northfield Savings Bank is paying on a savings account. You know,
As opposed to the 0.5 we're getting right now.
yeah, exactly.
0.0.
0.05.
That's illegal.
Yeah,
Essentially, all you have to do is ask.
Yeah.
Ask.
yeah. And Community Bank actually came in, yeah, I mean, their CD rates, like 90-day CD is 0.76%. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
And that's real money, if you're talking $1 million.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
So if you can come up with a motion, John, or Jason.
John's probably better than I. Let's see.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would make the motion to move 500,000 into the 9-month CD that's paying 2%, and the rest of it into the savings account, or maybe
I
even
was
more.
thinking of leaving that to the finance committee tomorrow.
I was gonna say, maybe not, don't pin too
Well, no,
close.
because the finance committee can't make that decision, because that has to be the select board.
Okay, so we cannot allow the finance, can we do a motion to allow the finance committee to make that decision?
Based on certain parameters.
What I'm concerned about is at this point, we don't know the free cash flow. We need to have Cheryl involved in saying how much.
Oh, right.
Or if you want to do
Or it's
up
up
to,
to.
we could do that.
Yeah, I would feel more comfortable that way, yeah.
So move up to 500,000?
Yeah. But we also, I mean, we also have, you know, the balance of it. There's no reason why,
You make it up to $1 million.
yeah, we could make it up to $1 million, I guess. Or we could at least get it into savings at the 1.25%.
I think that's where, in that motion, where you would allow yourself that flexibility.
Okay.
Up to $1 million with the
You're moving from one bank to the other.
Well, that's the first thing that we have to do.
Yeah.
Right.
You're going from community to
That's
Northfield
correct.
Savings Bank.
That is correct.
Well, can we go entirely to one bank, or do we have FDIC limits to concern ourselves with?
You're right, we would have to split it up. So I believe I think it's is it 200,000? What did Sherilyn say? It might even be as much as 500 now.
But there are other tricks too, because if you have different accounts, sometimes, Charlie would know.
Right.
Northfield could help us, but the point of the motion would be that we would keep it FDIC insured, which I think keeps it out of the money market account.
That's
I like that language of keeping it FDIC insured.
right. Okay.
So you want to say that all in one sentence then?
But I mean, I should back up, because I think the first motion is to move our money to Northfield Savings Bank. Okay? I mean, we can set up different accounts within Northfield Savings Bank. Okay?
I think we want to move it to other FDIC insured accounts.
Right.
And that may be Northfield Savings Bank or several banks.
Right. Okay. So I guess
Isn't it all in community bank now?
it's all in community bank, right?
So why can't you move it all to one other bank?
I don't see any reason why you can't. Because it's, my understanding is that the FDIC insurance has to do with the accounts themselves. So I think all the accounts can be within the same bank.
So how does it work now? We have one general fund account with a lot and at community. That doesn't,
Yeah, that's it.
are you,
Yeah, there's the one account for the savings reserve and everything else. I mean, they're like sub-accounts, but I mean, it's still just one account with community.
then we are not fully FDIC insured right now as well as getting 0.05%?
No, I believe we are. I
You believe we
believe we
are,
are,
okay.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure that, I know we are. I'm sure
There's
Okay.
like 7 sub-accounts.
Right.
Yeah.
But many of them don't have much money in them.
No.
Okay, so,
So, I mean, then, maybe my motion then would be that we move the money out of Community Bank into Northfield Savings Bank and/or any other banks that are going to give us better rates.
this is,
It's as simple as that.
yeah.
Yeah, as long as everything's FDIC.
Is it true?
It is insured.
That's it.
I'll second that.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
And instead of saying move money, you mean move town funds? Do you
Yeah,
want to just put it in general like that?
sure,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
All right, well, that sounds like you guys are already doing a good job. If you've already gained us at least a point, maybe more. Very good. Anything else, Jason, on that?
No?
All right, so let's look.
No, I just wanted to make sure, Callie probably filled everybody in on the Little Trail.
Yeah.
And was Cheryl here earlier?
No, she's not here this week.
Oh, okay. Okay, so, oh, I didn't realize that. Anyway, so did you fill them in on the stormwater master plan?
I have not, because I wasn't at the last meeting.
Okay. Then, I mean, I didn't bring that stuff because I thought Cheryl was.
I can just send it out an email if you want.
Yeah, that'll be
Okay.
fine. I mean, we identified the 5 most important projects, and they're all right here. You know, I mean, basically, the storm drains, the town hall, doing some more work there to keep the water out of the basement, whatever has to be done there, and the parking lot here. So pretty much it's all those things right in the village, but the most important. Yeah, so that's that, and then the financial committee, and then was today's meeting.
Ah, yes.
So today's meeting with Waterbury Ambulance. What they are asking of Moretown is a per capita charge of $19. We're paying, I believe, $36.20 to Montpelier now. So what we're talking about, and the chair of Duxbury Select Board was there as well, and they also don't pay Waterbury anything. And their assessment is, let's see, 1,325 is their population. We're not sure in Moretown. They think it's around 300 that are served by Waterbury Ambulance now. And so the thinking was that if we can expand the Waterbury Ambulance area,
Oh,
we could save money over what we're paying Montpelier, and maybe even break even. But even at $19 for 300 people, I think it makes sense.
Okay.
So I guess, we'll have to talk with Cheryl more to see if we can nail down, what the numbers are in Moretown.
And we're currently paying, you said 32 for that?
36, Mark Podway, who's the executive director, thought it was $36.20.
Wow.
and
Yeah.
is there any sort of analysis of response time to different parts of Moretown from Montpelier and Waterbury? So,
No, but I mean, that certainly we would have to take that into consideration, so.
So how do you proceed on that?
Well, basically, today's meeting was just to, get the numbers out there, and then going back and figuring our budget, pretty much. So I think we kind of have to work on that, and I would say just be talking more with them on issues like response time and so on.
We'll have to initiate some maybe conversation with Waterbury, Montpelier as well. We're going to start subtracting from that.
Right.
do we have any sort of service level agreement with Montpelier now? That,
I think,
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
we pay them.
yeah, does that have numbers for expected response time and the like, or is not that detailed?
I
Yeah.
don't know.
we did it one time, I don't know, if we kept it.
We haven't looked at that in several years.
It's been a while since it's been looked at, but it has been looked at.
Okay.
So they're talking about, taking over what Montpelier's doing?
No, not at all, okay? What they want to do is they want to charge us, number one, they want to charge us for who they're servicing.
So they're already doing that?
They already are.
Gotcha.
Right.
And then the discussion continued that if their
Gotcha.
service area became larger, we would be, yeah.
All right.
I mean, they're running at a deficit right now, so so the whole idea is that $19 per capita between Duxbury and us would make up for that deficit. They're in the hole at $54,700 for this year's budget. So, and that doesn't include dispatch services either, so I mean.
And is that mostly Gallagher acres?
The road,
Yeah, it would be in Cobbville, yeah.
But the new, as it's getting bigger, a lot of it's,
Yeah, that's true, yeah. So that's probably one reason why they don't have, an established number.
Can you dig up the agreement with Montpelier?
Oh, yeah, of
for
course.
us?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
yeah, I think it'd be good to review that. Maybe the next meeting,
Sure.
Katrina, you could put 15 minutes so that we can review that.
Yep.
Just gonna put them both together so we can figure that out. Good job plan. Good. Anything else, John?
No, I guess that's it.
Keep it busy. All right, so we have a few things to sign. And this, so you guys know, I'm signing the commission agreement, giving us the additional $5,000. Talked to that in Winchell. I don't know if you realized we got that.
Oh, right, yes. Yeah.
That's another additional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Jason, if you want to take a look at this.
Yeah, that one's all by itself.
Yep. That was.
Callie has his payroll too. Payroll was due early. Judy did not get his in.
Jeez. Lucky, should be able to wait.
Right?
This looks like a certificate of project completion for the Vermont municipal bond for the town garage. Looks like it needs a release signature.
Oh, look, this list just reminded me of something. Someone, I don't know if it was our road crew or a contractor, did mowing of the ditches and did a really wonderful job. I just wanted to comment on that. I saw an item here for Howard Fairfield's roadside mower rental. I don't know if that's with an operator or not, so I don't know.
We rent 1 week with a driver.
So the first pass was the driver, the second pass was the road crew.
Okay,
Two different types of mowers.
but very well done.
I thought Stevensbrook Road, that's where I noticed it. They did a good job. Look.
Yeah, my one looks great too. So we need another auditor. If anybody knows anybody who know auditing will be done this year. It is the year we get a professional one done, so it's, but
Can we just have it on?
he already quit
He quit?
before he started. He doesn't have time.
Oh.
We rescheduled 7 times and then he said, he just doesn't have time.
Thank you. Yep. All set. This here. Signatures. Thank you. That feels much later than what it is with the.
Yeah, it's there.
Happens so quick, doesn't it?
Certainly does. All right, so now, thank you for getting everything. Is there any other business, new business or old business?
So,
All right, I move to go into executive session to discuss the town administrator placement in business.
I second it.
All in favor, vote aye. Aye.
so I'm gonna lock the door behind me.